Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share my Reading Rush TBR. If you're not familiar with the Reading Rush, it's an event that is hosted every year by Ariel Bissett, and this year it's also hosted by Raylene LeMay. I will leave all the links to their channels and social media down below. Every year they have a bunch of challenges that you complete over a period of a week. And this year it's going to be held from July, not June, from July 20th to July 26th. So before we get into the reading challenges, I do want to say that I'm going to be trying to read a unique book for each challenge because I do want to complete the badge for reading 7 books in 7 days. So that's going to be interesting. I do not think that I will be able to accomplish it, but I have hope. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first challenge is to read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. And my birthstone is aquamarine. I was born in March, so I was looking for a cover that was kind of light blue. For this one I chose Sheets by Brenna Thumler. This is a graphic novel and it's basically about a girl who is running a laundromat. Her mother has recently died, so she's dealing with a lot of grief, and then she meets with this ghost Wendell, who is basically drawn to the laundromat because he's like a sheet and he sees all the sheets in the laundromat. I think it's very fitting to be reading a book for a readathon hosted by Ariel that Ariel has been promoting a lot, so I'm really excited to read this one, and I am hoping that I will be able to easily complete it in one day. So the second challenge is to read a book with a title that starts with the word the. So I went with the shortest book that I could find on my shelf that fit the prompt, and that is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I've had this book for a while and I've been meaning to read an actual full novel by Neil Gaiman for a while, and this one's very small and it's definitely very manageable to read in one day. So I actually don't really know much about this book. I think this is kind of like an urban fantasy about a man who discovers an underground parallel world. It could be a synopsis for another Neil Gaiman book, I'm not going to lie. It could be for like Neverwhere, because those two have always kind of been paired in my mind, so I might be completely wrong, but I don't mind going into this blind. I've owned it for so long, I just want to read it already, so yeah. So the next prompt is read a book that inspired a movie you have already seen. And for this one I actually have 2 choices from which I'm gonna choose on the day that I'm reading this. This was actually harder than I expected to choose because I don't seem to be watching that many movies or movies that are inspired by books, and a lot of the movies that I have seen that are inspired by books, I have read the books too, like The Hunger Games, The Maze Runner, Divergent, all of the ones that are off the top of my head that I can remember, I have read the books too. So these 2 books I have not read, but I have seen the movies and I love both of them. The one that I think I'm leaning towards is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Coraline is one of my absolute favorite animated stop motion movies. I love Coraline so much, and I know that the plot of the book matches the plot of the movie pretty much exactly, so I don't mind that, but I do own the book, so I think I might as well read it. And because it's a kid's book and it's very short, definitely manageable to finish within one day. And I think everyone knows what Coraline is about. It's just a kind of paranormal story of this little girl who discovers a door in the wall which basically leads her to a different version of her life where she has an alternate mom and dad, and you know, things start kind of going badly and it's very creepy and it's great. I love Coraline. Oh my god. I feel like I might actually watch the movie and read the book on the same day or something like that. We'll see. But I also have the second option, as I mentioned, and that one is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Beckell Bertalli. I have seen the movie actually on my birthday, I think 2 years ago. I love the movie so much. I wish it was on Netflix. I don't think it is, but yeah, I love the movie, and I have read one of the companion novels for this companion series by Beckell Bertalli, so I do want to kind of complete the whole companion series. I've read The Upside of Unrequited and I really loved that one. I've heard mixed things about this book, but I know what I'm getting myself into. I don't have really high expectations, and I think it's doable in one day, but it's definitely a little bit thicker than Coraline. Coraline has really big font, but this one actually has really big margins. I think both of these are doable. I'll see how things go, but yeah. So the next prompt is read the first book you touch. I know which book I want to read. I don't think it's in the frame, the book that I want to read, but here I am on camera to go ahead and touch The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So this is a tiny book. It's tiny. One of my friends really loves this book, so I feel like I'm honoring her a little bit by reading this book. So I have always loved classics, and this is one that I just never really got to. I never was assigned it as required reading for school or anything like that, so I just never got to it, and I've had this one on my shelf for I think 2 years or so I think it's time I tackled this one. My phone did the classic thing it does every single time I film a video and stopped recording, so let's swiftly move on to the next prompt. So the next prompt is to read a book completely outside of your house. I'm probably going to be completing that prompt multiple times over because I've developed a habit of going to a local park near my house and actually sitting down in the grass and getting some work done or reading a little bit, so that's really nice. And by the way, it's super safe. There is a big field that was normally used for big sports events, but now because they can't do organized sports events there, it's mostly empty, and there's a few people that come and just like sit down on a nice sunny day to read or have a picnic or something, but it's very safe. I will be sitting far away from everyone, and it's actually really good because it takes me 10 minutes to walk to the park and then I can enjoy a day there, and it's really nice. There is a Starbucks close by and a bubble tea place close by, so it's good. The book that I chose specifically for this challenge, which is not going to overlap with anything else, is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki. So this book is another one that Ariel has been pushing for a long time. If you don't know, Ariel and Raylene, the hosts of the Reading Rush, they also have a podcast called Books Unbound. I love their podcast. I've listened to each episode at least 4 or 5 times, actually, because I'm a little obsessed and I don't want to listen to anything else. But she's been talking about this one a lot, and she's convinced me to read it. This is a comic book. It's very light on the text, and it's very beautiful. So even though it's quite thick, it's mostly images, so I think I will be able to complete it in one day. No problem. If you're not familiar, Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me is basically a story of Freddie, who is dating on and off Laura Dean, and Laura Dean is basically like this really bad girlfriend who keeps breaking up with Freddie, and Freddie's going on this path to try to figure out what they want, what is a good relationship. That's kind of the vibe that I got, but basically this is an LGBTQIA plus coming of age, college age type of story, and yeah, that's all I really know and that's all I really want to know. The illustrations look beautiful, and Ariel's endorsement is all I really needed to be interested in picking up this book. So yeah, this is the one I'm going to be reading outside for sure. The next prompt is to read a book in a genre that you want to read more of. So for this one, I decided to go with the mystery thriller genre. I used to read a lot of that genre back when I was like a child, preteen. I used to read this whole series about these kids who were basically going on different adventures trying to solve different crimes, or there were some mysterious things happening, things like that. I really enjoyed that, and I actually read Sherlock Holmes when I was like a young teen as well, but then I drifted away from that genre and started reading more of YA dystopian, YA fantasy, and I have never really picked up more of the mystery thriller as much as I used to before, but I actually really love that genre, and I really want to get back into it and read more books in that genre. If you have any good recommendations, leave them down below in the comments, because I definitely want to pick up some more good ones. And the book that I chose for this one is a classic, and it's An End There Were None by Agatha Christie. So I found an audiobook on Script for this one, so that's gonna be perfect because I can listen to an audiobook literally all day. It's a classic. I think most people know what And Then There Were None is about, but it's basically about these either 10 or 12 people that get invited to this private island. I don't think we know what the incentive is, but they all really have a strong incentive to go to this private island, but they don't really know why they're going there, or maybe they know but it's not the real reason why. And basically once they get to this island, one by one they start being murdered, and they don't know who's the culprit, if it's one of them or if it's somebody outside. Somebody clearly set them up on this island, and they also received this poem that is basically predicting how everyone will die, and the way everyone does die matches the poem. So it's very creepy and sinister and really mysterious, and I'm really excited. I'm actually really excited. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one. And the last prompt is the one that was probably the most challenging to complete, and that is to read a book that is set on a different continent than where you live. I live in Canada, so North America, and 99.9% of books that I read are set in North America. I really need to diversify my reading a little bit more. This was really hard to find a book that was available either on Script or on my shelves, but I have a book saved on Script that is set in Japan. It is The Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. So this is a YA fantasy that is basically based on Japanese mythology. All I know is that the main character is half human and half this Japanese mythological creature from what I know. And that's all I really need to know. I'm going to be reading this one as an audiobook, and I'm really excited to read a book set in Japan. I would love to visit Japan someday. So yeah, basically these are the books that I'm planning to read for the Reading Rush, plus the 2 audiobooks that I talked about. There were some really loud kids outside. I hope you can't hear them as well anymore. But yeah, before I sign off, I just wanted to say that I believe there will be video challenges for the Reading Rush for every day of the Reading Rush, and I think most people complete them by doing a daily vlog. I don't think I will be able to do that. However, I do want to do them and just film it as a weekly vlog and then upload the whole thing by the end of the Reading Rush week. I will see how things turn out and how manageable everything is, because I do have a life and I will be reading a book a day basically, so hopefully I will be able to do the video challenges, so be on the lookout for that. As always, I will leave all the links to all of the books I've mentioned in this video down below, as well as all of the details about the Reading Rush and the hosts. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please stay safe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!